He is playing Protoss to the east versus his opponent. It is Evil Genius's DeMuslim. He is in the purple trunks and he is playing Terran to the west.
And to be honest, you could actually say that a lot of that last game that we actually witnessed there was DeMuslim not being able to actually mine from the right-hand side of the map. It was like BlinG just had an advantage in economy, and that obviously went over into his army as well. But he needs to control DTs better late game. He doesn't tore it up on these expansions, and BlinG was able to do so much damage there.
Yeah, he was able to absolutely smash his opponent over a very, very long series, and once again just tries to wear his opponent down as much as possible. Seems to do the job, and those storms, man, those storms, and even against a Marauder-heavy composition, he's still ripping them to pieces. That is impressive in and of itself, because Storms don't do that much damage against Marauders. They've got a lot of health.
I think it was, I'm trying to think at the time that I showed BlinG a GSL game, I think it was Genius that did it on Daybreak, and I was like, oh my god, it was like the first time that we'd really seen Warp Prism and High Templar being used so efficiently, and he was like, that's so sick, I'm going to do it myself. And he's clearly doing it himself, but look at this now, both players actually going, alright, I love best of nines, that's what really brings out, because you see so much different styles and feeling each other out, and now they're just going to go Nexus and Command Center first.
Because why the hell not? You know, let's have a gentleman's agreement between the two of us. This is an English show match after all, so gentlemanly behavior is expected. It is on display.
Yeah, and this really, I mean, when somebody goes Command Center first versus Nexus first is a little bit better because of the extra chrono boost you get. Even though you get mules from it a little bit faster, the probe count just goes so incredibly high. And there's actually no way that DeMuslim can even pressure this base because, you know, we saw how BlinG actually really fastly grabs 2 gateways and eventually gets double stalkers out as well. But on the other hand, seeing this, BlinG may decide to do some form of 6 gate again because he'll have a stronger economy faster than he would do if he was going for a regular gateway expand.
Yes, he would, and let's find out which will end up winning. There's the second gateway being put down by BlinG. Always happens after a Nexus first to make sure that you can get your army composition and size back to the usual levels that would otherwise be compromised. Don't want to have to deal with any kind of bunker nonsense or anything along those lines. Scout goes in. DeMuslim always getting the scouting advantage here, and he's actually going to confirm that there is not indeed a second gas, which shouldn't really surprise him all that much, bearing in mind it's Nexus first. In fact, he hasn't actually checked it yet, but I think he knows.
Yeah, I mean, he sees the double gateway, he sees the cyber core, he kind of can map out the build anyway. And I'm interested to see what DeMuslim's going to do. You know, he can take a very fast third base here, he can also take double gases here as well, and he decides to go for the double gases. So he could grab Stim really fast here, or he could throw down the factory equally as fast. And so far, BlinG on the other hand, is going for these double stalkers, and then I guess he'll decide to kind of choose his tech path once he gets rid of that SCV, or the SCV voluntarily leaves as it knows it's about to die.
Yes, it can see its death in the portents in the cards. It went to a fortune teller, and the death card was placed down multiple times, and then those who are into that kind of thing shout at me and say, that's not what it really means, and I said, it doesn't really matter, that's what the SCV interpreted it as, and that's all that really matters. At the end of the day, isn't the world simply based around opinions? Isn't that not how we construct things? Whatever the case, it's getting the hell out of there. Second bunker coming down for DeMuslim right here. Wants to make sure that it is done quite quickly, because, well, you know what happened the last time a Nexus first came down from BlinG.
Yeah, and so far I'm not seeing anything from BlinG. Okay, there's 2 more gateways. Let's have a look at his probe count. It's at 35 again. He is building 2 more probes, so I don't think he will be going for that once again.
Yeah, he's got 5.
And yeah, so he's at 5, but I don't think he's going to go 6 gate this time around. He hasn't got that much chrono boost. So, on the other hand though, DeMuslim throws down goes for another barracks, but he still hasn't got any tech labs down yet, which is a very late tech lab. So, I mean, he's actually thrown down 3 bunkers anticipation for any 6 gate play, but that's not actually the case this time around. He would have obviously been a lot fitter to deal with it even if he hadn't got Stim here. But he is going to have a lot faster medivacs than usual, and there BlinG does decide to throw down the double forge once again.
Oh yes, classic BlinG style here with the double forge play. I absolutely love it. He hasn't used it all that much this series, honestly. Not as much as you would expect. This is nice and early double forge, so we're going to see very quick upgrades from him in this series, and could potentially catch DeMuslim off guard, but he's already started both his Stim and the infantry weapon level 1.
The SCV of DeMuslim manages to get to the north base and sees no third base. That's great scouting information for DeMuslim. And he's also going to see the composition. Oh, he doesn't quite see the gases, but he does see 4 zealots and very little sentry count. So he could be guessing that the gas has been thrown into the double forges. He actually scans, but it doesn't reveal too much, actually. But I really do love what BlinG's been doing. He's actually scouting around every single base on the map, checking for any hidden command centers, which actually lost him a series versus Cass most recently. And it's very, I mean, why would you not scout around every base? What's that probe really going to do? And he even gets information that there's no third base. So excellent scouting here from BlinG.
Yeah, I'm liking that. It's something that he hasn't been doing over the previous games, honestly. He's not been seeing all that much, especially not in the first 10 minutes or so. Once his observers have come out, then that's fantastic. But this time around, he's not pumping a ton of observers. In fact, he doesn't even have a robo. He's gone for Twilight Council instead.
Yeah, he's going to go straight into 2-2 and then Zealot Charge. He's also taken a third base as well. And what is Mr. DeMuslim doing over here? Stim is near completion. He has 2 medivacs about to come out, another one in production. No third base yet. I'm wondering if he's going to push out now. Let's have a look at his vision. He still is absolutely clueless to what's going on in terms of scouting, but we may see a very nice push here with +1 Stim and combat shields with 3-4 medivacs. It could potentially be a split drop as well, but there's no Zealot Charge or BlinG actually been researched, and that pylon's going to reveal everything. Oh, what an awesome pylon that one is.
Yeah, that is the most important pylon to ever exist. It's seen a lot coming through there, and immediately BlinG will be able to respond to that, and does he catch them out? And DeMuslim's very, very careful. He knows exactly what the range of that is, and an immediate elevation into the main base here from DeMuslim. However, because of the Pylon of Destiny, he was able to spot that quite nicely and immediately cleans that up. No problem at all, forces it back. Loses a Pylon in the process as retribution for that, but as we know, this one's far more important.
Yeah, meanwhile, DeMuslim throws down the second engineering main armory. He needs to start thinking about a next expansion. Okay, there it is. I was going to say that it's getting incredibly late considering that the Nexus is already finished.
Yeah.
For BlinG, and now BlinG is transferring over as well. He's at 61 pros versus 58, and 2-2 is near completion, actually. I mean, a couple more chrono boosts in there, and he's going to be finished. And DeMuslim's just at 1-0, and not even halfway to get the +1 armor, actually. Stalker does go down in the middle of the map, but this is where it gets difficult for Protoss, because you don't really know where the drops are going to come from, and it looks like, DeMuslim not really splitting his army up. He's not dropping in multiple locations, only one at a time at one location.
Yeah,
makes it easier for BlinG, basically.
It does, exactly. And this is a situation where BlinG could potentially be pulled into pieces if multiple drops were being employed, because he doesn't have that observer coverage that he did previously. In goes a very aggressive Stim into the mineral line. BlinG immediately pulls back, and DeMuslim hops away before BlinG can actually do anything about that whatsoever. And a weakness of BlinG's army at the moment in dealing with these drops is a complete lack of BlinG Stalkers.
Yeah, indeed. And he uses 2 Guardian Shields there, and DeMuslim picks off 5 probes, and actually BlinG may be walking into a bit of a trap. Okay, he does turn back, actually. That drop pulls him back, and a really good harassment here from DeMuslim, and he's going to drop into the main base as well. So this is the drop-heavy DeMuslim that I'm used to seeing, and now it's coming out in game number 4, but is it a little bit too late? But that is a humongous drop.
There's not enough Stalkers to stop it. It's as simple as that. He brings down a single medevac, but everything else gets gunned down, and that is a doom drop right into the center of BlinG's base. The Nexus will fall without question, and the Cyber Core going down as well, so it's going to be no more Stalkers for you for the time being. And this army from BlinG is now retreating as rapidly as it can, but huge damage has already been done here by DeMuslim.
Oh, and he picks up and is going to be able to get out with the majority of units here, and the Devil Terran just got evil, TotalBiscuit.
Oh,
and now he's taking his third base, he's adding on more production facilities, and that hurt, by the way, as that drop comes into the third base as well. And there's so many probes here, but double feedbacks don't even get it out.
It's not enough to kill it, unfortunately. It will drain the energy, which is good, because BlinG got a good surround there, was able to do significant damage, but it wasn't enough to clean it up, and one more shot from the Archon will do it! Archons are too fat! They're too fat, Apollo!
Oh, and another drop into the main. This is what we wanted to see from DeMuslim, and he needs to do this kind of play if he wants to come back into the game. And oh my god, he is tearing BlinG apart right now. The only problem is he may be in trouble if a counterattack happens, because all of his army is in the air right now. And another drop onto that third base. So resilient.
It's ridiculous, the amount of drops he's actually doing here, and BlinG's just eating it right now. Look at that, 44 probes falling rapidly. Number of probes were killed is 25 to a single one. And as you said, BlinG's only real option here, and I think he's figured this one out, is he's got to go and he's got to do damage. Oh, wow, an aggressive pylon put into the back of the third base of DeMuslim here, because he knows that most of that army, as you said, is in the air, but DeMuslim's managed to bring a lot of Marauders back here, and he actually has a good number of Marines here too. This engagement's going to get messy. DeMuslim comes in from the back with SCVs that actually distract his opponent long enough.
And DeMuslim brings back those 3 medibacks. They're going to get picked off nice and fast though if he keeps them there, but
he's out
very Marauder heavy once again. The upgrades are heavily favored in BlinG's favor right now at 2-2 compared to 1-1, but the position is way favored for DeMuslim.
Oh,
Look
yeah.
at the barracks, the supply
You can't
depots.
attack into that with Zealots. It's insanity. It's absolute insanity. It's a trap, more to the point. However, the concern being that if DeMuslim is continually denied from mining from this third base, he's going to be rapidly mined out of here. You already see he's massively oversaturated. He can't sit there. He's got to do something.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that BlinG is kind of hoping for right now. He sees there's no third base, he's checking other locations as well, and that's really good for him, especially because he's working on 3-3. He's going to have 4 storms available once again, and we know how deadly BlinG storms have been in this series, and DeMuslim's just waiting for his 2-2 upgrades to finish, and also his Ghost to come out now, and he's going to push out with his upgrades, with Ghost ready to EMP, but he doesn't quite know where the army is for BlinG. BlinG Storm's not ready. It's 50, 60 seconds away from finishing. There's a big window right now that DeMuslim can hit, and it's going to be a deadly one.
Yeah, and BlinG does not want to engage this without Storm. He knows that for a fact, but the problem is he might end up losing his third if he doesn't. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. The pylon's finally getting picked off at the back here, and down it goes, and the unfortunate heroic probe is annihilated. Fourth base is most likely going to end up getting denied here. BlinG's going to have to accept that loss. He hates it. He hates having to do it, but he doesn't have Storm until now. And now is the time when he wants to strike. Ooh, we've got Ghosts at the back here. They could be picked off if BlinG is sneaky enough to do it. They're going after those High Templar. The feedbacks pop down, but the EMPs land as well. There are 2 Ghosts left.
Big stim.
Yeah, very large stim. DeMuslim's been doing this a lot, actually. He's been over-stimming to the point where it's been wearing his forces down, but he's got a lot of medevacs, a lot of energy. The Templars are eliminated. They had to morph to Archons. The Ghost count is pretty low as well. There's actually only 2 Ghosts in the army. There's no EMP available at the moment, but without those Templar, BlinG is unwilling to commit.
Yeah, but the upgrades are equal at the moment, but in 30 seconds' time, they will not be. BlinG will be at 3-3, which will obviously help out so much against this Marauder heavy army, and there's so many Zealots here. BlinG splits up his army, but DeMuslim again in an awesome position, really awesome position holding the Selnaga Tower. He can EMP all the filtered Zealots and just maximize the EMP, and ooh, both players filling each other out. 30, okay, no longer do we have to wait for those 3-3 upgrades. Archons are coming into the fray as well now.
BlinG doesn't have a maxed out army. That's my concern. Oh, that's a really nice engagement spot. That Void will absolutely filter those around. BlinG doesn't want to get anywhere near it. And EMP lands only on the Archon, not on the Zealots. There's another EMP coming down there, and that is the engagement that BlinG was looking for, but it's not going to be enough. He's taken a pounding here by the looks of it, and it's been filtered into his own force field. DeMuslim definitely dodging behind the force field and dealing extreme damage to BlinG's army. Now stemming forward, he smells blood right now. He's going for it.
Welcome back to the Marines, but goodbye. You didn't last too much longer as that storm hits a lot, but these units don't quite
They're not dead. It doesn't matter.
These units are so low.
They're still on their feet.
Everything here.
Yeah, well, if he can land one good storm, but he doesn't have one. He's got 2 High Templar, but they're not in the battle. I don't think he's even got the energy for it. This very weakened army from DeMuslim now coming in from the back, but 60 to supply to 154. Bear in mind that in the background of this, the macro's been going on and on and on, and there's a second army waiting to crush BlinG in this game. Feedback lands, doesn't do enough. DeMuslim gets away with the remainder of that army, and here comes the second one in the center.
Yeah, and DeMuslim's going to take a 4th and a 5th base now. He's already taken a 4th, actually, and he'll probably lift up to take the center base in a few moments' time as well. And BlinG is basically working on limited amounts of money. His income now is dropping under 1,500, and DeMuslim's is actually scaling above that right now. So the upgrades are still in favor of BlinG, but very shortly, +3 attack will take effect. And look at the Marine count. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the unit called the Marina. Yes, they are good, and it's finally been able to combat BlinG.
Oh wow, even though that EMP didn't really hit all that much, it doesn't matter. The amount of units there, BlinG knows it, GG. DeMuslim is right back in this series with an excellent display of the kind of strategies that we're used to seeing from him.
Yeah, and that drops, you know, that's what I thought we'd be seeing in the first game, and maybe